Good evening. What's your English language learning entails in Material Hub? Material Hub show archiving PEP in archiving when Material Hub and noticeable effect on learning. That will cause intensive attention and trap. If it achieve, there is a better chance that some of the language in the material will be taken. Material can archive impact through novelty, variety, and aspect activity, different types of research, attractive presentation, appealing content, archival challenge. Material should help learn to feel at ease. Research have shown the effect of various fear, anxiety, and acquisition. The less anxious the learner, the better language acquisition. They proceed similar release and comfortable student applying can learn more in shorter periods of time. Dole, Bear, and Berg and Hassan, 1982. Material to help learn to develop confidence. We can see uh, some points about it on this topic. You know, we can see provide take into um, a silent period, a short side should not rely too much on control or practice. Material should provide opportunity for outcome feedback. Proposal for principal approach to development and ELT materials. Material should not be random creation from repertory nor classified, of previous successful material. Instead, that show the coherent and principal application of theory, principle of teaching, our current knowledge, the results of systematic observation and evaluation of the material in use. Um, Hidalgo in ATL 1995. There are a number of writers from the Soviet Asia who articulate principal approach to material development, reflecting how they think, learn, and learn language. Some of the proposals of the frameworks and many lists of the principles which drive their materials. Tomlinson, 1998, 522. Um, let's see, the materials show expose learning to language authentic use, help learning to pay attention to feature of authentic input, provide the learning with the opportunity to use the target language to achieve communicate purpose, provide opportunity for outcome feedback, achieve impact in the sense that they rough and sound their learn curiosity, attention, simulate intellectual as emotion environment. A proposal principle approach to the development of the material. One of these which material rights need to do is to develop procedure and frameworks to help them to proceed effective material for target learning in principle and current ways. But before Charles, farm workers are developed the right need to decide what the principal should drive the procedure. Principle of language acquisition. There we have a first one is a prerequisite side for the language acquisition is that the learners are exposed to a rich, meaningful, and comprehensible input of the language in use. We can see this. Uh, and the language input contextualize a language use in determine and interpret in relation to its counter use. We principle of the language acquisition. Number two, in order for the learning to maximize the purpose to language and prioritize make use of the activities and activity wise which the learning to think about principle of the language acquisition. Number three, language learning who achieve positive effect are much more likely to communicate to communicate or competence than those who do not. Principal material development. The text and facts are interesting, relevant, and enjoyable as possible, so as to exert a positive influence on the learning aptitude to the language and to the process of the learning. Principle of the language acquisition 4. The L2 and language learners can be from using those mental resources which they typically utilize when acting using the layer 1, L1. We can see the multiple dimension representation of the language experiences and users can enrich the learning process, and get the learning activity help, principal language acquisition 5. The language learners can be benefit from noticing silent feature of the input. Principle of the material development use an experimental approach rather than draw the learners attention for a particular features. The principal extension 6, learning need the opportunity to use the language and achieve the purpose. Is a reference